I used to be the guy who cared way too much, to the point I would not do much. I'm slowly gathering myself to become more and express more, and a part of me was like, whoa, how can I do this? But it has dawned on me, you do it by not caring. You do it by not caring what others think. By all means you care, but you don't actually care. Which is like, whoa, what does that mean? Let's dive into it. In life, you will meet haters. We're talking about haters that will make you just want to be like, golly, get out of my way. But then you kind of like, can I actually say that to their face? I just don't know. But you slowly grow the confidence and you do it. And you don't usually actually say anything. You just kind of don't care. You don't allow it to affect you. I used to be the person who would basically hear something and digest it as though this really matters. I am still this person, but I have a program inside me that knows how to say, oh, this is trash, bye-bye, and I do that. But to actually form this program within yourself, you gotta create a lot of standing grounds of who you are, what you believe in, what really matters, what fights am I gonna battle. But for us to actually get to this point, I'm telling you, you don't do it too easily. Now, with that being said, a lot of people are like, yo, he's back! Yeah, this video is actually kind of funny because in the aspect I was never leaving, I just kind of had this mindset of, well, I gotta digest the reality, and the reality was no one in my books cared too much. So I had to take this information, gather it, really digest it for months and years, and be like, I'm trying here yet, I'm gonna try system overload, I'm trying it, and some people are crying now, because they're like, what is he saying? That's for you to decide. I can't no longer try to help you understand. I can only be myself and express what I know, and hopefully in the process factor in what might be understandable and what might not be. But if you don't fully understand it, I just can't care. Why? Because that's not my job to care about what you care about. I'm sorry. Unless you're my personal inner circle of life, it's not my job. That was very hard for me to digest, to actually really think about, because I'm not God. Like, I mean, I'm not Jesus. I'm not even close to any of that level of awareness of beings, and never will be. With that being said, yeah, I should probably care about every single thing, but I'm a human soul. If I care about every single thing, I'm a depressed soul. I can't allow that. For me to not care about what anyone else thinks about me, you just don't care. But how can you actually not care? And how can you just care about what you want to care about? A lot of it comes down to acceptance, and a lot of it comes down to what is in my control, what is my responsibility, what is my accountability to my own actions. And once you kind of understand that, it's going to take a long time. You can't just one day be like, oh, I know. It just doesn't work that way. Life is too complicated with too many pressing in realities for us to be able to just snap and do that. As time goes on, we slowly learn. Step into my shoes again. I'm trying to help you, but I can't allow myself to care too much how you view me, or I'm going to be affected by it, and then it hurts me, and I just kind of have to turn that off. And a lot of people be like, oh man, he's pretty crazy, just take a video and make a video that says exactly this. Especially considering a week ago what I said to some who understood and saw. You'd be like, oh, whoa. But I can't allow that to be a factor into my perspective of how I care, because it's the past now, and that's the issue. Most people idolize the past, that idolize that moment too much, that if it's negative and bad, you're programming deep levels of emotional remembrance into your mind to say, I'm never going to forget this. Why? Because I emotionally ingrained it into my system. This system reads it as, this is important, I better not forget. And I might have lost some of y'all, but whatever, I just can't care. This video might be a little rude, it might be a little just like, relax. And I am. The thing is, you sometimes have to push yourself away from things that affect you too much. Sometimes you can't look in a certain direction for a while just because you're too emotionally attached to it. In the scenario of last week, I was too bottled up with longevity expectations for certain people that I never saw it, never got it, that I had to just kind of like system delete file. I felt better, but then I didn't feel better in the aspect, well, how can I step back into the scene and not be obscene, whatever the word is, and be alright. the thing is, you can't allow one bad moment, 2 bad moments, oh god, let's make it 1,000, maybe 1,000,000 moments to ever affect your next step, because it's forward and that's backwards, and if you're backward thinking, you're never growing. You're just kind of shrinking into this box of like, whew, boy, I might escape one day. But if you just like blow it down and be like, well, I don't care, and then you just kind of run and start forming what you want to do, forming reality into the way you want it, things happen. If I would allow anyone to say, oh, you're crazy, and I would digest that as, oh, I'm crazy, oh god, I would probably never actually grow or do my next move because I'm so worried about that moment. But if I'd been like, one person thinks I'm crazy, thank you so much. I'm very appreciated to your perspective. But if I could and may, I actually want to get to understand you because that's who I am. But since you don't know who I am because you're just assuming and guessing, well, I'm sorry. You only saw not even 1% of me. This video is not even showing 1% of me, but a lot of people think they know. It's kind of funny once that actually hits and smacks you in the face, and then people are like, whoa, what happened? So we have 90% of reality in this brain of ours, and then we have the 10% that we're pushing out, and it gets more complicated than that. But the moral of the story is I'm back. The moral of the story is I'm not too worried about the past because it is the past. And with that being said, I'm a very vast, large characteristic personality of me, and that's not for me to be ashamed of. I won't ever be ashamed of it. With that being said, more so, I do respect people's feelings and I do care, but in the sense of what happened and what I did, I never really actually hurt no one. I was always this reality reminder, like, psh, hey, reality check, blah, and most people just can't digest it. Sometimes not even myself. Sometimes I'm stumbling and like crying and I'm like, okay, I'm better again, guys. I know. So with that being said and expressed, I think it's time. It's by far too good time to actually allow myself to be myself and not really worry. Because, you know, as you perform, as you try to show, like for me, I'm looking directly in the camera right now. I gotta have this performance mindset of, what am I doing? What am I trying to express? Blah, blah, blah. You have to realize sometimes you have to step into a certain mindset. Today, we need to be calm. Oh, okay, let's express more openly. And yeah, it's kind of crazy in that way. But this is the human mind. This is how we engage with one another. And some people, we live in one mindset. Some people like me, I'm downloading multiple mindsets. As in, I'm programming and relearning, well, how could I be in this moment? Is this good? Am I going to get my point across better this way or that way and that way? And some people just never feel comfortable doing any of that because this crazy label is going to be placed on me. Which is just crazy because, like, why can some people be crazy or expressive, exciting, and alive, but some people can't because they're never that way? Oh god, if they're that way, they're just... What's the matter with them? I mean, they're scaring me. Is that how people view it? Because I don't view it that way. If someone's laughing, I'm like, they're laughing. Nice. Why am I not laughing? Maybe it didn't affect me, but it affected them. Awesome. They're affected, I'm not, but... maybe I was, because I just didn't get as affected. Is that the key or trick? And maybe, is that the answer? I don't know, it's sometimes hard, and some people will be very lost by this point in this video, and I have to start realizing maybe these type of videos I do is not just for anyone, they're just for a selected few who find it hilarious, and let's actually really hit a reality check. I read constantly, I'm digesting constant information as much as possible. I'm thinking on very large, deep levels all the 24-hour time I'm up. Okay, backtrack, more like 16 hours I'm up, but most people don't do that. Most people are just like, I'm getting hit in the face with this information, God. I'm like, no, I'm plowing through this information because I want to. So my tolerance level of intake, of comprehension, just grows and grows and grows. And I don't mean that in any boastful way. I'm just saying I've actually taken the time and years and effort to do this, to make this a reality. You can too. We all can. I find stuff like this really exciting and funny. Like sometimes I watch YouTube videos and I find people like myself and I'm like, thank God they're out there. And then I run across some people that see stuff like that and like, it don't even make sense to me. They're talking freaking Chinese here, and I'm like, I understood. Why didn't you understand though? But I know why they didn't, and I mean, I kind of told you why just a second ago, but too much on my mind. So with that, farewell. I shall actually make a more presentational side of my life that isn't so crazy, so expressive, so I don't know how to explain it. I'm trying to still figure out that puzzle piece. All I do know is you find people with similar minds and you get along, and then you have those who are just like, I can't relate, or nah, they're crazy, or they're boring, or God, get out of my life. I don't know, that's just what I have understood as life has hit me. Oh God, we have 10 minutes and 26 seconds. Alright, peace.